It has been a weather event unlike anything any of us have ever seen, at least here in the tri-state area. This is just one of 4 confirmed giant tornadoes that formed in our region tonight. This video taken by a viewer in Mullica Hill, New Jersey. This twister first appeared in Woodbury Heights, and 3 more tornadoes touched down in Beverly, New Jersey, Tullytown, Bucks County, and the first one of the late afternoon in Willow Grove, Montgomery County. They were jaw-dropping sights for these amateur photographers, but the painful business will be to assess the damage they caused to property and to trees. Fallen trees mean downed power lines, and that means homes and businesses without electricity. In addition to these confirmed tornadoes, there were a dozen unconfirmed twisters in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. 3 separate unconfirmed tornadoes had their sights set on Philadelphia, but we don't know yet if Philadelphia suffered any effects. And oh yes, the rain. The entire region has been pummeled by torrential rain, racking up hourly totals unlike anything we've seen in a long time. Locations have already gotten 5, 6, 7 inches of rain, and the storm isn't over. Driving a car, treacherous at best. The water level in Coatesville is up to the top of street signs, but the big problem will be flooded creeks and rivers. Case in point, the Tohickon Creek in Point Pleasant, Bucks County. Expect neighborhoods and people's homes to suffer. Good evening, I'm Jim Gardner. It has been a night to remember, and thanks to Cecily Tynan, Adam Joseph, and Chris Sowers, we will remember how it erupted and evolved for a very long time, and how our reporters now have been able to make it out into the field to give us firsthand accounts of what they have encountered. Action News reporter Christy Leto has been surveying the situation in Mullica Hill, the scene of that very large tornado, and this is her report.
So we're in Mullica Hill along Josephine Lane. And this is a neighborhood that was hit severely by this twister that apparently touched down here. And this is the home that really bore the brunt of the storm here in the neighborhood. I mean, it's pretty much completely decimated. You can see that a lot, and we're still seeing lightning too. A lot of the debris is on top of this car. You also see a lot of children's toys piled up, lawn furniture and so forth, and then just lots and lots of debris. The roof ripped off, the walls caved in, and then you look at the rest of the neighborhood and it's a similar sight all throughout here. Now, we did actually speak to the gentleman that lives just next door. He said that he got the alert. He went into the basement, it got very quiet, and then all of a sudden, like, everything just started rattling and their whole family was completely shaken. Now, fortunately, we have not heard of any serious reported injuries. So thankfully, you know, that's good because homes can be replaced, buildings can be replaced, people's lives cannot. But what we're also seeing over here, we still have first responders that are on scene. We're also seeing a lot of utility companies on site. You know, they want to make sure that they can cut off the utilities, the electricity, and so forth. And we're also getting this eerie sound of alarms that is just kind of echoing through the neighborhood. And obviously that is because a lot of the homes are now completely empty because they're unlivable, and a lot of the families have to move out to be, you know, in a safer area while, I guess, you know, the damage is assessed and so forth. But this neighborhood specifically has really bore the brunt of this storm. In South Jersey, Christy Leto, Channel 6, Action News.
And what about the situation in Montgomery County? Action News reporter George Solis is in Horsham, and this is what he found.
Rain continues to fall here in Horsham. Traffic, an absolute nightmare here off of Welsh Road and Limekiln Pike, and this is why. Take a look at some of the tree debris here, and this is just a small fraction of what we have seen in the neighborhood. Around me, people going around this bank because of this road closure, trying to get around to their homes and their neighborhood. But they can't because a lot of flooding has occurred here along the roadway as well. At one point, we saw emergency vehicles trying to jet down the road, having to turn around as well because of the flooding. Now, along the way here, we saw more heavy rain, more trees down, and more people getting stuck in some floodwaters. Fortunately, none of them had to be rescued. Some of them were able to turn around before things got too bad. But as we continue moving along the road here, you can see that traffic is still at a significant standstill here. People weighing their options, whether or not they want to go forward into their neighborhoods or whether they want to turn around and find an alternate route. One man that I did speak with earlier today said his home seems to be okay. He's been trying to get home for hours now after the severe weather moved through. Many people believe that a tornado did touch down through this area as well. He said his home was spared, but he said large trees in the neighborhood completely uprooted. And again, just to give you a better idea of how strong the winds were that moved through here, take a look at this street sign. Almost bent at a perfect 90-degree angle. Even more dangerous, we still have power lines that are down. We've seen utility crews out here working to spotlight some of the areas to see where they can begin doing some work. And again, an evidence of people doing the right thing. They are turning around in some of these floodwaters, getting out of here, although we have seen quite the opposite of that. You can see more people actually trying to navigate their way down this road, trying to get to their neighborhoods, where you can see there are still more trees down. And this has been as far as we've been able to go this evening because of the amount of tree debris that is in this area. No telling how significant the damage may be further in. Of course, people are telling us and reporting some of the information that they are seeing in front of their homes, either through family, through friends that are in the neighborhood at this hour. Of course, very fluid, and we know that the cleanup here is just getting started. We are in Horsham. George Solis, Channel 6 Action News.
And new video shows the moment the storm hit the Mercedes-Benz dealership in Fort Washington, Montgomery County. Police have told Action News that damage is extensive in Fort Washington. The employees took shelter here, and when the storm passed, there was damage to the building's ceiling. And this is some of the damage from Chester County this afternoon. Mike Schubert sent this photograph to us from Oxford. You can see the storms sheared off the backside of a home. And in Jeffersonville, Pennsylvania, water was gushing between buildings at the Willowbrook Apartments on Egypt Road. Meteorologists Cecily Tynan and Adam Joseph were on the air continuously from 4:13 this afternoon until 7:45 tonight. And I guess that qualifies you guys as having expert knowledge about what has been going on out there. What has been happening, and where do we stand now? Cecily?
Well, Jim, we had 16 tornado warnings in total. The National Weather Service will be out with survey teams verifying. I think that most of those tornado warnings were legitimate tornadoes. We saw them on the radar. The signatures were there. Now, Storm Tracker 6 Live double scan showing that we still do have a tornado watch for part of our area. That's until 10 o'clock. But most of the lift, most of that spin, most of the tornado threat has now moved across New England and Long Island. So although we could see a brief tornado, most of this activity has really congealed into a more solid line of rain, and typically with that you don't get the tornado warnings. Zooming in, we've got that low pressure moving right across our area right now. So there's one line of pretty active thunderstorms moving towards the Garden State Parkway, and there's a second line that's across the Delaware River into Salem County, moving into Cumberland County. Once that moves through, our weather will be settling down overnight. But I know this was a devastating storm. Not only the tornado warnings, but also the real heavy rain. We still have some torrential rain moving through Philadelphia, moving through parts of Bucks County, Montgomery County, Chester County. The rainfall total is just unbelievable. We've had up to 10 inches of rain in parts of our area, and these are the storm reports. Now, if you look at this, you can see that most of the reports are flooding are in the areas west of Philadelphia. But then you get closer to the I-95 corridor, you get into parts of Montgomery County, you get right along the New Jersey Parkway. This is where we have a lot of wind damage reports from all those tornado warnings. Now, the National Weather Service will be out trying to figure out also, were these multiple tornadoes, or were they one or two tornadoes that just stayed on the ground or kind of lifted up and touched down again? So that's something to be determined. If you look at the rainfall estimates, though, you can see near Philadelphia a lot, 4.6 just to the west, but parts of Chester County near West Bradford, 10 inches, parts of Bucks County, 9 inches. So even when the tornado threat is over, that flooding threat, that will remain not only tonight, but also into tomorrow, possibly also into Friday. I want to bring in meteorologist Adam Joseph to talk more about that flooding threat. Adam?
Yeah, and with that flood threat, we talked about the dual threat yesterday. That north and west is where we would take on most of the high water issues. South and east near I-95, that would be where the tornado risk was going to be on the high side. And as we look at the watches and warnings across the area here, these are general flood warnings, meaning streets as well as neighborhoods in the red here. Flash flood warning through midnight for all of southeastern Pennsylvania, northern parts of New Jersey. Also flood warnings for Lancaster and Reading. In addition to that, many of our creeks, most of them are out of their banks in southeastern Pennsylvania. But the major flood warnings will be for the Perkiomen at Graterford, going 6 feet above flood stage. That is happening right now. Will subside by tomorrow morning. The east branch of the Brandywine below Downingtown, 6.3 feet above its flood stage. That is also happening at this moment in time. Then we move our eyes to the Schuylkill River, expected to be moderate flooding, 7 feet above flood stage, cresting tomorrow afternoon. Norristown, major flooding along the Schuylkill, 7.5 feet above its flood stage, early tomorrow afternoon. And in Philadelphia at 30th Street, moderate flooding there, over 6 feet above flood stage, cresting tomorrow roughly in the middle part of the afternoon. Then the eyes will be on the Delaware River. There is a flood warning for the Delaware River. Moderate flooding at these locations, cresting not until tomorrow night, early on Friday morning at Easton, Regalsville, Stockton, also in New Hope. Future tracker radar at 11 o'clock tonight. Still that heavy rain north and west of Philadelphia, where again we have seen between 5 and 10 inches of rain with more to come. But by 3 a.m., everything really whips up into New England. And thankfully, by tomorrow morning, it is sunny, it is dry. Folks will be assessing their damage in their neighborhoods and also will continue to, Jim, to watch those waterways that will rise like the Schuylkill and the Delaware all day tomorrow.
Thank you, Adam. That is our special report on the Delaware Valley turned into Tornado Alley. Hopefully the rain will stop soon. Hopefully the damage from the tornadoes turns out to be less than catastrophic. We will have the complete story and the very latest information on all of this on Action News tonight at 11. I'm Jim Gordon.